ladies and gentlemen. You know, Barr right here is telling the federal prisons to send inmates home. And this is unprecedented because, somebody like him saying this, shocking. So this is CBS News, March 27th, 2020. I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to this audio.
The network has to be prepared to absorb whatever it's going to come its way.
That's a commercial. I'm just going to turn the volume down until it's over. But they're saying that, inmates and staff are both testing positive, and this is one of the reasons why they're making this move to get some of the prisoners that are, non-threatening removed from the jail.
Last week, I asked the BOP to start doing some assessment work to see if it was possible to expand home confinement, particularly for those older prisoners who had served substantial parts of their sentence and did no longer pose a threat and may have underlying conditions that make them particularly vulnerable. And they've been doing that work. 10,000. We have 10,000 inmates over 60. Generally speaking, about a third of our inmates have pre-existing conditions. 40% of those serving sentences, 40% of that 10,000 are serving sentences for violent crime or sex offenses. We have authorities under the First Step Act and under other general authorities to release, that would permit us to release to home confinement in certain designated circumstances. And I've asked and issued a memorandum just today to Bureau of Prisons to increase the use of home confinement based on a number of factors, including some of the statutory factors that we have to consider and are appropriate to consider, and other eligibility standards. I mean, one of the things we have to assess is whether that individual, this is a case by case, will be more safe in the particular circumstance in which they're going to find themselves. And in many cases, that may not be the case. We also have to provide that anyone who is released to home confinement is quarantined before they go out for 14 days to ensure that we're not putting people out in the community who have it. But we are now in the process of trying to expand home confinement as part of, trying to control the spread of this infection. I would say generally the history, my sense is that...
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what he is pretty much saying is any inmates that, especially the ones that have a pre-existing condition, which we know that can make all kinds of complications if the person gets coronavirus. So as of Friday, today, 14 inmates and 13 staff members in the federal prisons have tested positive for CV. So, like he was saying, there's a concern about the inmates that may be vulnerable if they get CV. So, according to the Attorney General, the Bureau holds 146,000 inmates spread across 122 facilities nationwide, not including the 21,000 inmates that are incarcerated in facilities run by private contractors. About 10,000 inmates are over the age of 60, and a third have pre-existing conditions. So this announcement comes after calls from the criminal justice advocacy groups to reduce prison populations nationwide in order to avoid what could be a disastrous and dangerous spread of the virus. Kevin Ring, the president of Families Against Mandatory Minimums, told CBS his concern is that inmates will die unnecessarily if the Bureau does not take bolder actions. Ring says officials should consider other avenues like compassion release. I don't think it's enough, Ring said. I think it's a small step in the right direction, but I think it's a peacetime move. In a time of war, Barr has asked the Bureau to consider a range of discretionary factors when determining which inmates should qualify for home confinement, which is when prisoners serve their sentence from their own home under the Bureau's control. Some of the considerations include the age and vulnerability of the inmate to CV, the inmate's conduct while in prison, and whether the inmate still poses a danger to the community based on his or her crime. We also have to provide to anyone who is released to home confinement is quarantined before they go out for 14 days to ensure that they are not putting people out in the community who have it, Barr says. But we are now in the process of trying to expand home confinement as part of trying to control the spread of this infection. So, ladies and gentlemen, look like the federal prisons are now releasing inmates because of the spread of CV. You know, their hand is being forced, ladies and gentlemen, and never ever lose sight of all of the innocent men and women that have been placed in jails, and this government and the citizens have showed no concern about it. You know, it's one thing if your criminal system ran in a just manner, but we know this one has never done it historically. It has never done the right thing. Even with the exonerations, you know, just because these men and women get released, don't clap and be joyful about that, because you know what? They kept them in there for decades before they released them. What kind of victory is that? It's not much of one. You took their life. You took years they never can get back. For what? For what? Some lying ass prosecutor and some evil ass judge? You know, trust me, they better be glad I don't run this place, because prosecutors that wrongfully put people in jail, they should go to jail. Judges that find people guilty and they have evidence, and in many cases they have evidence that the person is innocent, and they throw them in there anyway. I would put that judge in jail. So it takes a virus to right the wrongs of all of the just evil in this society when it comes down to this criminal system that they run, because there's no justice in it at all. None. It's a criminal system. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.